Here in Lisbon. Looking to the left-hand side, we can see the department store of El Corte Inglés. Sebastian. He lived during the 18th century, okay? And he became the most important person during the 18th century here in Portugal. The king at the time, Joseph I, he didn't want to rule, so we can say he had a kind of like the king. We had, unfortunately, a big earthquake here in 1755. So the king that was on vacation in the area of Belém, he didn't want to return to the city center. So he had one of his ministers, this Sebastian. He was the only one that had courage enough to go to the place because everything was destroyed, as you can imagine, and made all the decisions. Since that day, the 1st of November 1755, the king said, "Now I'm not ruling anymore, I'm going to give all the decisions to make to this Marquis of Pombal. Then I will just sign the papers."
1640, they got their independence from Spain.
It seems like a palace square. As you can see, we have a statue right in the middle representing our king, King of Portugal, Peter IV, that also became the first emperor of Brazil. So we're almost entering the area of downtown. We have River Tagus over here. So the vessels that used to come from those countries where Portugal went during the discoveries, so India, Japan, China, Brazil and all that, they used to bring all the products and of course they were sold here.
He's trying to get us to go.
So the square over here is evidently the largest square in Europe. Didn't seem that large to me
then
yesterday.
The black horse. Well, we have a kind of green horse right in the middle. It's a statue to our King Joseph I because he was the one that was ruling in fact. If we look to the right, we can see this arch, the triumphal arch, right at the beginning of the most important street of Baixa, that is Augusta Street, the main street. As you can see today, it's a pedestrian street. In fact, all this area here of Baixa, it is considered to be like an open-air shopping mall. If you are fond of shopping, if you want to make some shopping, buying some traditional things, Portuguese things, you have to come to this area. For sure, you will find this beautiful church to the left-hand side, the Conception Church, dating from the 16th century Manuelin style. We also have another 16th century building over here that will also appear to the left-hand side that we call as the House of the Pointed Stones or the House of Diamonds. Okay. Starting to appear now to the left. Today is the José Saramago Foundation. And this building, it was built by a man called Braz de Albuquerque, an illegitimate son of a very important person at the time. So he was a kind of king on the other side of the world. Only 4 houses in the world are built like this. So we have this in Lisbon, we have another one in Moscow, Seville and Italy. Settled here during the 8th century. Okay?
This is
so they started inhabiting the place because here they searched for water. Of course, they needed water, and the only 6 good springs of water of the area of Lisbon, they existed here in the area. So Alhama means spring of water. Well, today the fountains, they are not working anymore. As you can see, we have one. The connection to the most important cities of Portugal. For instance, if you want to take a square, it is said that this statue that we have in the middle of the square is the only statue in Lisbon that doesn't have a pigeon on the top. And the reason is because, as you can see, the horse is walking on and smashing snakes. And the pigeons, they are afraid of the snakes, so they don't go there.
Really?
Here's a trolley car. Looks like it could be in San Francisco.
Another option for the Portuguese, we are known as the codfish eaters. We call it as bacalhau because we only have 365 ways of cooking it. You just have to choose one of the recipes. To the left-hand side.
Another square and another train station.
And the area to the right, the area of Chiado.
Fado houses are the nightlife.
Chiado is the one of the areas known for the traditional colors, also, like the area of Pacha.
The hill that I lived on.
What, from the 19th century, Portuguese one, and he's all holding this lady like this because he was not afraid in using words. And you know that the truth is naked. That is why we have the representation of him like this. So returning to the story of our Queen Mary II that was trying to have a baby. While she was trying, nothing happened, so she made a promise. Don't forget that we are a 90% Catholic country. So the promise was that if she was able to have a baby, then she will build a beautiful church to offer to God.
This is a church the Queen built when she got pregnant.
Avenue that has the name of Infant when they
The glazed
came to the
tiles.
area and stayed here since the 8th century. And you know, 5 centuries after, Lisbon was conquered, but many of them stayed here, teaching us how to do these beautiful glazed tiles. And then if we use glazed tiles, imagine outside the building, because we also use them inside buildings, but if we use them outside, covering a facade of a house, well, economically speaking, it would be better because we never have to paint the house again. It can easily be cleaned, so all good reasons to keep using them.
I'll get right on that. That's called a postcard. Yeah.
Well, look at all this area, these brick buildings to the left-hand side. This area is called as Tauck. And
Says to do with
each
the
house is a different
1974
restaurant.
revolution.
So it is very nice to have a meal over here because you can feel the breeze of the river and the touching of the sun.
And there's our Golden Gate Bridge,
Yeah.
built by the
States
same
Steel
company
Corporation.
as the company that made the Golden Gate Bridge.
Well, when this bridge
In the
was built, it
60s.
was conceived having 2 levels. The upper one for regular traffic, and this bridge makes the connection to the highway that will take you to the Algarve if you had time enough.
The National Coach Museum